is preparing. Is preparing. Okay, we are good to go.
Okay, great. So we'll call the meeting to order for the April Park Board meeting. Are there any adjustments to the agenda that anybody has to bring up? We'll do a roll call. Sorry, I did that first. I'm not here. This is Brian. I see John's on, right?
Yep.
Joy, is Joy here? Joy's not here, right? Steve is here.
Steve is here.
Hey, Steve. Brian.
Good evening.
Brian is not here, right? Okay, Donovan is here, right, Donovan?
Yep.
Thanks for joining. Rodney, is Rodney here? No. Manny is here, right? Hey, Manny.
Yep, I'm here.
And David. David's
Yes, here.
Right? Okay, so that gives us a quorum, right? So to get back, any adjustments to the agenda? Okay. The minutes from last time, which was in February, I read over the minutes. I didn't have any adjustments. It looked like it was a good summary of the meeting. Anybody else have any adjustments to the meeting from last time, a couple months ago? Okay, so I'll move to accept the minutes as written. Anybody would like to second?
I'll second it.
All right, thanks, John. All in favor of approving, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay, great. So we'll approve the minutes from last time. Thanks, Tammy, for getting those done. Kristen, you said there was a citizen comment. I don't have that. So are you going to read those, or how does that work for this meeting?
We have two citizens who are actually present in the meeting.
Okay,
Dave
great.
Sweeney and Neil Shannon. Dave Sweeney, if you are ready, I'm ready to share the attachments that you requested. I'm sorry, hang on, where'd they go? So I can share the attachments as soon as you're ready, Dave Sweeney. Neil, oh, here he comes.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So would
Nice
you like
to see you, by the way. You're my neighbor.
So would you like me to do the first, just in the same order that you gave them?
Yes, 1 through 9. And did you get my message about advancing the video to that first frame so you can actually see it before I start it? If you can take the slider bar and just, it should be black right now. And if you could just take the slider bar and move it a little bit to the right, like 1 second or so into the video, the video will pop up without starting it, because I wanted to talk about it for a second or two. Does that make sense?
Which attachment is that?
It's the video, the very first one.
Okay.
It says Red Fern Trees Video.mp4.
I apologize. Give me just one moment.
Not a problem. I figured Neil made it not work for you. He's going to come pound on my door in a second.
Oh, here I have it.
Oh, good.
Okay.
I can make a couple of comments while you're searching for it.
I have it. I apologize. I'm just trying to get it pulled up so I can share my screen.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
All right, I'm going to share my screen and
There it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, just leave it right there.
okay.
Okay, can I start?
Yes,
All right. First of all, thanks for letting me join you. I want to applaud all the efforts that you folks have been going through. I've watched a number of your meetings on YouTube, and I got to tell you, I love a lot of the ideas, especially the Festival of Plaza ideas. I think that's amazing. If there's anything I can do to help, I will gladly do it. Also, please come and visit these trees. Please come down and see Neil and me so we can show them to you. Okay, before we start, the way to approximate the age of a Doug fir or a cedar is by taking the circumference in inches and multiplying it by 1.6. That'll give you an approximate age of the tree. Thank you, Google, for that information. With that, all the trees you see in this video, all the trees you see in the next two pictures are scheduled to be chopped down. Please roll the video. There is sound on it. Well, basically it says, these are the trees at the end of Red Fern Drive. There are approximate. There's approximately 115 trees, all most over 100 feet tall, most over 100 years old, all scheduled to be chopped down. Okay, next slide, please. It's the one on the right there, Tam.
are you able to see?
I can see it, but it's the video is frozen. The next slide is the picture on the right.
Showing the video and the email, the actual email to the right with the pictures in it.
Okay, I apologize, give me a moment.
Not a problem. I have a hammer I could bring over if that'll help. Really doesn't help me, but it feels so much better. I really do hope you guys can come visit, and Neil and I would be glad to show you these trees and take you on a little walk on our path. I'll even buy donuts. And I know you can't come. Russell told me you can't come in a large group because there's a quorum and then that's a meeting. So come in small groups. Come in 2 or 3, or I don't know if you can come in 4 or not, but I really implore you to come down and take a visit. These are majestic, majestic trees.
Are you able to see it now?
The video is still I see it on the right side, Tammy.
Okay, let me,
I think you'll need to, yeah, there you go. Now
Okay.
try again.
All right. This is where we play the music from Jeopardy.
There we go. That's
Okay.
good.
All right. The tree on the left is a big Doug fir with the red dot on it. That tree is by the, I should have told you, there is a tree in the video that's 192 years old approximately. It would have started growing in 1830. You know who was president in 1830? Andrew Jackson. The one with the red dot is 171 years old approximately. It would have started growing in 1851, 10 years before the Civil War. Its little cousin immediately to the right is the runt of the litter, one of them. It's only 86 years old approximately, would have started in 1936 in the middle of the Great Depression. Okay, next slide, please. And by the way, all of those trees are scheduled to be cut down. So are all of these trees. The big honkin' cedar tree on the left side of the path and next to the house, yes, that one is almost 13 feet in circumference. And I couldn't believe it when I did this, but doing the math, it's approximately 248 years old, which means it would have started growing in 1774, 2 years before the Declaration of Independence. All of those trees are scheduled to be cut down. And that's our path that goes behind Red Fern and our houses. Next slide, Tammy, please. All for the sake of this, 2 houses, lot 40 right there, and to the right, lot 41. That tract H open space can't be built on because it's wetland. The tract space on the other side, on the left side, would have a house on it, but you can't put more than 2 houses on a private driveway. Otherwise, that was scheduled to have a house on it. Next slide, please. There are approximately 135 trees. The spiky black ones are the fir trees. The white scalloped edged ones are the deciduous trees. About 135. I've counted it 3 times. Of the 135, 115 are scheduled to be chopped down, all of them with X's through that. Houses. Next slide, please. Now, Julia showed this at your November meeting, and basically it's the Sherwood Tree Code. This was the working document they came up with in February of 2012. Number 4 there says the city may determine that regardless of D1 through D3, the previous pages, that certain trees or woodlands may be required to be retained. The basis for such a decision shall include, scroll all the way to the bottom for those various reasons. E, otherwise merit retention because of unusual size, the size of the tree stand, historic association or species type, habitat or wildlife preservation considerations, there are deer that live back there, or some combination thereof as determined by the city. This is one of 2 ways I think the city can really insist that those trees be retained. And I implore you to insist that they do that. Next slide, please. This is the entirety of the Cedar Creek Gardens. It's 20 acres. And that you notice there's an immense amount of open space, about 12 acres, not quite. And the reason they're not building on it is because of the next slide. They can't build on it because that open space, basically the thatched area is sensitive area or wetlands. The darker gray areas are required vegetative corridor areas. None of that can be built upon. That's important because, next slide, please. This is, oops, that's the one, that's the end there. Do you have the one that well?
I have 8A.
Yeah, the 8A. Can you put 8A up? Well, as long as you got this one, this is the concept plan, but it's from 2008, confirmed in 2009. And you'll notice that green triangle below 4 that you guys are talking about doesn't exist, or well, it exists, but a lot of it, about 60%, is not in Cedar Creek Gardens. And what's going on right now doesn't bear a lot of resemblance to the original concept plan, but it was 14 years ago. Okay, the next one, the last one you got there, Tam, please. 8A.
Yes, I need to go back through.
That's okay.
There. This is, are you seeing
That's
it?
That's it. The
Okay.
last one. And this, I think, is important. I think this is the second reason that you can insist that those trees be saved. Under there, it says through development is required to provide, and you guys know this, 5% open space. And you say, well, there's 60% open space. Yes, but you can't build on it. It's not usable. And Julie also mentioned the word active space, but where it says right under development is required, open space must include usable areas, usable being the key word, such as public parks, swimming and wade pools, grass areas for picnics and recreation play, walking paths, and the like. I think using this, now the flagpole lot could be used for the 5% open space. And I would suggest let them do that. Take that path from Redfern and run it all the way out to Brookman Road using that 1 acre of the 20 acres or 5% as their park space, that and the tree code. And with that, I thank you for letting me come on. Like I said, I really appreciate what you guys are doing. Please come and visit. Please come and visit. Neil and I'd be glad to show you around, and I'll buy the donuts. Thank you, Tammy, very much for your help.
Thank you. Neil, if you're ready, I'm ready.
Okay, you should have 2 slides, and I've got some prepared statements, and we'll just follow along. My name is Neil Shannon, and I reside at 23997 Southwest Redfern Drive. I've appeared before this board several times in the past to discuss the development of Brookman Road concept plan and the subject of parks and trails. I believe that my neighbor Dave Sweeney will also be providing some citizen comments specifically addressing the opportunities at the east end of the Brookman Road concept plan. I would like to take a broader view of the issues and specifically addressing the desires of the citizens of Sherwood as expressed in the Parks Master Plan and the surveys used to create that plan. So if we take a look at this slide, at the March 2nd, 2020 Parks Board meeting, the results of a survey used for the development of the Parks Master Plan was presented. The respondents of the survey were clear in their support for pedestrian paths, but even more importantly, their support for forested trails. As you can see from this figure, 84% of the respondents really liked the concept of a truly forested trail. In comparison, when presented an image of a paved path in open space, only 64% of the respondents were favorable. Slide 2. These results were confirmed when you review how respondents would vote with their pocketbook. When asked to budget their priorities, 61% of the funds were directed to trail connectivity, with a close following of 55% for natural trails and 46% for managing natural areas. At the January meeting this year of the board, there was some discussion regarding parks and trails in the Brookman Concept Plan area, specifically those established by the Middlebrook and reserves at Cedar Creek subdivisions. It is my hope that some of your members took the opportunity to visit these sites to help understand the issues. If you had, you would have found that while the developer met the regulatory requirements for pedestrian paths, they certainly did not meet the spirit behind the reasons for pedestrians paths. Much of the provided paths are bordered by a 6-foot cedar fence on one side and a cyclone fence bordering the railroad tracks on the other. Clearly not a very interesting path. In addition, there is no connectivity with these new paths to the trail network in Sherwood. The area is bordered by the railroad and to the north and southwest Cobble Court developments also to the north and Cedar Creek to the east. A pedestrian seeking to walk to downtown Sherwood can walk east on Brookman Road to Ladd Hill, a trip of about 1.81 miles, or west on Brookman Road to Middlebrook Road and Sunset, a trip of 2.7 miles. An important item to consider for the trip east is if a pedestrian bypass is provided from Brookman Road to Redfern Drive, pedestrians can be kept off the busiest portions of Brookman Road, which has no sidewalks or bike paths, and Ladd Hill, and can be kept safe on the pedestrian paths and residential sidewalks of Redfern and St. Charles Way. I understand that you are not the decision-making body, but you have been tasked to make recommendations to City Council. It is also my understanding that this board has indicated some support for the Brookman Road Redfern Drive pedestrian trail. I ask that you continue this support and take every opportunity possible to communicate that support to City Council.
Yeah.
That was my comments.
Great, thank you, Dave and Neil. We appreciate the comments.
Is this a good time to talk through what the feedback provided?
So typically during citizen comments, we're just taking information in, but we could definitely schedule that for a further discussion at the next board meeting. But typically they're just allowed to comment on items that aren't on the agenda and provide their testimony.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that you can't have any conversation if the board so chooses, but usually we try to schedule it on the next agenda if you want to go into a deep dive or anything or make any recommendations.
I think more of my mind was, I know I think we're all pretty in favor of it. Last time we had that conversation similar to the citizen comments. I'm just wondering where it went. Last time it was raised, if it went anywhere or what we could do, but we can bring it up in the next meeting.
Yeah, I will just stay and we can definitely talk about it more next month. Your comments were shared with City Council. Councilor Griffin did share those at a meeting, and I was there for that meeting, so I know that they were shared, but they also don't have any action points right now either, City Council, so.
Yeah, Dave and Neil, I just would, before we close this topic, I think, yeah, this board, I think, is sympathetic to your cause. You know, obviously trees need to be removed to make houses, but it does seem a little excessive to take out so many trees just to put two single family houses in that spot. So we do appreciate all of the work that you've put in. As Kristen said, we've made our thoughts known to City Council, and we'll continue to look for other things that we can do to you know, make this topic known to as many people as we can.
Steve here. Hey, I had a question, maybe if at all possible.
Yeah.
So I know we've talked about this a number of months, and I actually make it over that way walking more than I make it down Brookman ever driving. I don't know the status of the subdivisions and where they are and how they're being built, but I just hope that, I know the wheels of government are known to turn slowly, and I believe often the wheels of government turn in different directions at the same time. I'm hoping that we don't just, however, we don't all wake up some Saturday morning and hear the chainsaws and go, wow, we should have done something, or somebody should have done something else. And however this goes all the way through whatever process there is, so there's an end to it before that Saturday morning when people are standing on their back deck with their coffee, and if that makes sense to anybody. I've seen that happen before, and I would hate to see it happen again. You can't put the trees back, and everything else is kind of adjustable. So I don't know how that happens. I don't know how we or someone else makes that happen, but that's my thought on the whole thing.
I'll second that. Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like there should be some movement, but again, I don't know if we can bring that request up to City Council again, and if we can be present to help kind of voice that. I think I'd love to get something on the agenda to try and get ahead of it before it's too late.
Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. Kristen, are there any other comments, or is that it for that?
I think that's it for citizen comments, and we'll make sure that item is on the agenda in May and can hopefully come up with some potential options.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Okay. The next agenda topic is the Cedar Creek Trail. I don't see Jason.
Yeah.
On. Is he on?
Yeah. Jason was not able to make it. I just received a note from him at the end of the day, so he provided an update to me that I was going to share with everybody. Before we do that, I just want to mention, sorry, it was kind of a challenging start. I was streaming the meeting for the first time, so that was fun, trying to figure out how to stream it on YouTube at the same time. And like, wait a minute, there's two videos going. This is really confusing and echoes. But I neglected to make sure that everybody saw that Councilor Browse is with us this evening. We should have done that during the adjustments to the agenda, introduced her. She's the alternate for the Parks Board. And with Russell Griffin resigning as city councilor a month or so ago, it was, I think it was about a month ago now, Councilor Browse is here stepping in. So thank you for being here. I just wanted to explain her presence and welcome you. And I don't think you've ever been able to, needed to fill in before. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's been a long time ago.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Thanks for asking me.
Okay, so update on Cedar Creek Trail. Jason did update the project website, so you can find all of this information and more there. But the contractor's schedule shows that the trail project will reach substantial completion on May 27th, which is same as we have been projecting most recently. And just a reminder that substantial completion means the trail is usable by the general public with final closeout and punch list repairs completed by the contractor in June and July. So you'll still see people out there doing some work, but the trail will be usable. Final completion is achieved when the contractor has completed all the repairs and all of the punch list items, and then it's finally signed off on and accepted by ODOT and the city. And that will most likely occur later in June or in July as well. One important note, especially if you live in the area, is the contractor will complete the last round of night paving work at Highway 99 and Southwest Meineke Parkway, starting very early on Wednesday, April 6th at 3 a.m. and going until 7 a.m. So neighbors have been notified that there may be some night construction or noise going on at that time, as well as the hotel staff. So bright and early. The city has initiated proposed earmarks or items to be considered for the budget of about $500,000 in next year's city budget. So the 22-23 fiscal year budget. And this would be to complete some of the final items, whether we're adding benches or garbage waste receptacles, some of the things that may not have been included in the federalized project, but items that still need to be included. A comprehensive list we could present in the future. We could identify what we might want some of those items to look like. Those are the types of things that we'll see added over the next 6 months, but our proposal is to include those items in next year's budget and get them taken care of. And then once again, the webpage has been updated, so feel free to take a look there for additional information if you're interested. So any questions on that part of it?
Yeah, Kristen, I would like to talk about the ribbon cutting event.
Yes, that was the next thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sorry. If any other questions about the? Are there any questions about the schedule before I move on to that next topic? Okay, so I just obviously is excited about that, and I just wanted to make sure that we're like, how confident are we on that date before we schedule? I don't want to schedule a ribbon cutting and then have it be delayed, right?
Yes, I completely agree. I said the exact same thing to Julia this morning. I said, I sure don't want to schedule a ribbon cutting for June 15th, let's say, and have the sale not be complete. And it sounds like everything is on track. And given that, we're 6 weeks out, they should be pretty accurate in their estimates. I don't know that I would schedule it for the next day. But I think that if we looked into early June, and I'd love to have those conversations about when might be good. Do we want to do a Saturday event? Do we want to do a Saturday? Of course, we'll have cruising. Renee, that's the third weekend in June. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was just thinking, don't have it on June 18th.
Okay, so not June 18th. We could potentially do the weekend before. Assuming we want to do a weekend and not a weekday type of thing.
Yeah, so that's the 11th. Do you want to put it on the 11th?
We could look at the 11th. I think graduation happens a little bit earlier. That's usually like a Thursday night, Friday night. I think they do graduation.
Friday night.
And then there may be Rose Festival, but I think that, that's the first weekend. That's why cruising moved, correct? Yeah, so the 11th might be a good time. Does that sound good to people?
Yeah, I think it sounds really good. I think that can we propose that to City Council and see if they're okay with that, and see if we can. Yeah,
we actually don't necessarily. I mean, I'll check with them to make sure there's no major conflicts. But I think if that works, then we can go with it. So my next question is, does anybody have any great ideas? I mean, at one point earlier today, I was like, oh, it'd be really fun at the beginning of the trail to have a big balloon arch, but I know those aren't very environmentally friendly. So I'm like, okay, are there?
Well, as long as they're not released out, I think it's okay,
Right,
right?
as long as, yeah, but something to mark the entrance,
Yeah.
obviously a ribbon, and then whether it's cookies and punch or
I think
some
that's
sort
great.
of
Yeah, I
cake
think that,
or some sort of celebration and opportunity for everybody to be there and have a few speeches.
yeah, I think especially if most of our board is available and most of the city council and the mayor is available that day, and Jason is available, that we just want to make sure most everybody's available then, and maybe the mayor could, this has been a long project, so if he gives a little speech to congratulate everybody for getting it done and does a ribbon cutting, and then we have if we encourage kids to ride their bikes on the trail and whatever else we want. Yeah, have cookies or drinks and everything there, and that would sometime that Saturday morning or late morning or something like that. I think that'd be great.
Okay, sounds great. We'll go with it. So I will confirm, but pencil it in, please, if you can, for the 11th.
Right. Anybody else on the board have any thoughts about that? We'd look for any kind of creative thoughts you have. Any ideas about how we can make this a special ribbon cutting, a special event? Because those of us who've been on the board for a long time know this has been a long project that we've been working on. So it's really a great thing to have it almost to the finish line here. Anyway, you don't have to speak up now, but if you think of anything that would make it, any thoughts pop into your head, let us know and we'll try to incorporate them.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Great, thanks. All right, great. So do we have any updates on the festival plaza? That looks another great thing that's
another great
Sarah?
project. Yes.
Yeah.
So we are also on track for Festival Plaza. We actually have a meeting tomorrow with the Urban Renewal Board. This is an urban renewal funded project. So we have a meeting tomorrow to approve the Lingo Hansen to do the construction drawings and documents. So they are already hard at work and have been helping us through the planning phase and are geared up and ready to go. Working on the survey and getting some other things lined up. So once they get that final approval, they will be off and running. And we still hope to go out to bid later this summer, most likely early fall, and should have completion. Again, the goal is to be done by festival season for next year. But no substantial changes from the plans that you all saw. We received great feedback from everyone that I've known who has seen him has had encouraging and positive things to say. So now it's just fine tuning everything and working through the details.
Great.
And there is still information on our website. If you have any questions or people want to see what those images look like, those are all still available on the website as well.
All right, great.
Any questions or thoughts? Okay.
Okay, we got a couple others for you, Kristen.
Yes, so I guess I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
Another project. I feel like we suddenly have a lot going on.
Yeah,
another project is the Ssdc methodology update. For those of you who were at the meeting 2 months ago, I know that was a lot of information. So thank you for being here. I thought it was really informative and just helps us all better understand the Ssdc process and how projects are funded and what goes into that. So on May 3rd, City Council should be receiving an update in work session about recommendations for what the new Ssdc park rate could be. It's not finalized yet. That's just a recommendation that will be going to City Council to entertain. The one thing that I think is safe to say is that it would most likely be an increase from what we're looking at now. I mean, just when you look at where we are compared to where our neighbors are, and then take a look at our parks master plan and what projects we want to be able to complete and how we're going to raise money to do that to help develop what that fee is. So consultants have been working very hard on that project. We've been going back through the master plan, making sure that everything is laid out correctly and identified. And on May 3rd, City Council will hear that. That, of course, is a work session that is open to the public, and y'all are welcome to attend if that's something that you're interested in hearing about. And I will remind you at our May meeting and see if by chance any of you are able to do that. City Council is meeting in person. So I would anticipate that they will still be meeting in person in May. And then in June, we would be able to bring back more information to the board.
Great, thank you. And then the Vets Park.
Yeah,
plan?
Veterans Memorial Park, that project is moving forward as well. Tammy, could you throw up the image? So this is one that we've been working on for quite a while. If you recall, we received a state grant, the OPRD Veterans Memorial Grant of about, I want to say it ends up being about $20,000 or $22,000 that we're receiving from the state to go towards this project. And we've been meeting with representatives from the Legion as well as the Elks and trying to get some feedback. And they did have just a few suggestions. This isn't the prettiest rendering, but it's where we're at right now, where we're trying to make sure that we can identify irrigation and all the different things that need to go into the plans. And then next month, I'll bring you back a much prettier drawing, but you have an idea of what it was going to look like. But what I wanted to show you here is on this document in the very middle, you can see where the existing monument is. The one recommendation that I thought was a good one is to add 2 more flagpoles. So we'll actually have 3 flagpoles out there, and it will be centered on the monument there instead of having just 1 flagpole.
Nobody's home. What is?
I figured I could watch the rest of the meeting.
To mute.
That's true. I was watching it and I was just waiting for a break so I could come over to your house. Go ahead, I'll join you.
Oh, no problem.
I was trying to see who's not muted here. I think it's Dave, maybe. There you go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't say anything.
Okay. No, he didn't say anything inappropriate. I just got him muted though. So we will have 3 flagpoles there instead of just the 1. And we have relocated the benches just slightly and are making the recommendation that they would be backless benches, meaning that you could sit on the benches and look towards the street or towards the monuments, or you could look towards the park. But you know, that it will be a nice view no matter what there. And then the 2, they're right now 4-foot wide pillars that you see. And we're confirming the size on those, but where it says U.S. military branch seals, and that would have the different seals of the military on both of those sides. And then there's pavers that will be able to be engraved for the surface. So, and then redoing the planter bed there in front. So we'll bring back some much more attractive looking images next time, but I just wanted to show everybody where we're at and the recommendations that we had received so far.
So Kristen, I know we had talked in the past of it. Is the large plaque in the middle there, is that going to stay the same, or is it going to? So we're not. Yeah. So that before we're not adding names or
no, and that's a recommendation from the state as well. They said if you try to start adding names, you're never going to get it right. And it's going to take you years and years to try to find all of those names. So the thought was leave what's there, the memorial that's there, add reference to the wars and the different seals, and then have the bricks available, the bricks or the pavers available for purchase, a small fee where people could then add somebody's name or say in honor of somebody. And we'll make sure that, obviously people are putting appropriate information, and it might be somebody's name and birth date, their ranking, we'll have some kind of items to kind of pick for, so that we'll make sure that everything that goes down there is appropriate.
So how will that information get communicated to the general public, that those pavers are available for, to put a name on for a veteran that is deceased or died in?
So we're still working through the details, but yeah, we'll roll out a program. There's actually companies that do this, that help manage the program and have a web form available, and you can go in and put in your information and pay $65 or whatever the fee ends up being. And we'll try to, they usually do them in batches. So we may try to do it, leading up to the project and putting together a batch, so that if we have 100 to do all at once, great, they're laid out that way. And then they might go in later and do, another 50 when they have that many orders.
Yeah.
But I've been given some contact information. They just did this down in Canby, it sounds like. So I was forwarded their information. So we're going to try to learn from our neighbors and what went well.
Do you think that there will be some kind of a ribbon cutting for this also when it's done? Do you think we'll have some kind of ceremony there when?
Yes.
Yeah. That'd be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and we would certainly have more information available then as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks for that.
Sure.
Okay, so the next one is the maintenance plan from Harry.
I got a new laptop here and you can't see my face. I'm just darked out. So
a little bit dark, yeah.
I can see your shadow. And Tammy will have I did email this to the group, but I think you also have the tree removal request that Rich sent, that Harry will be
Harry,
doing.
do you want to do tree removal first?
Yeah, I was gonna do the tree removals first. We got quite a few of those. So good evening, everyone. Thanks for your time. So like we said, we have 6 tree removals. Sorry about the camera here, but for some reason it's not picking up much light. So the first one here is an open space at address 21330 Rolich. And the arborist recommends the removal of 1 big leaf maple due to lean and safety of property and persons, and staff will replant tree within this open space. So that's first. Sorry, Tammy, I don't know what order you got. So hopefully we'll go together. So next one I have is the right of way of Heatherwood and Sunset. Remove a dead tree due to disease and no living foliage. And then to replant with different species of tree is what was recommended on this one here. Next one, I have a public tract at address 16632 Glen Eagle Drive. So this is, the arborist recommends the removal of 1 plum due to poor health and structure. And then staff will replant tree with the tract coordinating with property owner due to the close proximity of the building. There's that one. Hopefully we're still on track here, Tammy. I have the next one at open space 22538 Pinehurst Drive. So this is removing a cottonwood tree due to the damage of property and shedding of large limbs to protect public. And then staff will replant a suitable tree in the open space. The next one, we have the stormwater quality facility on Lavender. So this is to help remove a sediment and core out facility, remove volunteer willows and cottonwood, and then plant grasses, sedges, and more suitable plants around vertical sides of water quality facility. So you can see the little point there, lack of grasses to provide treatment to the facility. So this will help with that in that area. Then we have the open space in Willow. So this is to remove a large volunteer cottonwood tree causing extensive damage to the city-owned sidewalk and damage to the storm catch basin, and recommended to plant a replacement tree within the treat area of this open space to the south. So that tree, the picture you can't really see there, but it is right next to a catch basin. It's up in that catch basin by the sidewalk there. And so, Tammy, are those all 6, right? There we go. Okay. So that was all 6 of the tree removals. You have want to go through any questions on that, Kristen, or?
I had a quick question on the Glen Eagle one. That is in the public right of way, because it is right by the house. This is what it looks like. But it's our tree, I guess.
Yes, from the sounds of it, it is in a public, what they call that. It's with the property due to the proximity of the building. So it is a public open area. I haven't seen the spot myself personally. So.
Okay, with that, I would move that we accept all these and move forward with it.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that. I just want to, just real quick, are there any questions about any of the other ones? Because we have several of them. So I just want to make sure everybody has a chance to ask any questions. Okay, great. If there are no questions, I'll second that. I don't have any issue with any of these either. So for all in favor of all 6 of these, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Okay, great. Thanks.
I'll pass the information on to our supervisor at that. So
And
now,
Harry, do you have any other updates to parks maintenance?
yes, I do. I was going to go
Great.
into the parks maintenance if
Thank
time
you.
allows.
Yep.
You good?
Yep.
Okay. So within parks, we have finally started, got the contractor to do the foundations for our precast log benches at Snyder Park. I don't know if one's been out there lately. The wood benches have been taken out due to the rotting. They were rotting and causing a hazard. So concrete foundations were poured to a week and a half ago, and they're scheduled to weather depending. Of course, today wasn't the best weather, so they were gonna pick up the precast benches we had at Public Works Yard, but due to weather, they weren't able to. But hopefully, those will get installed this week. So we'll see the precast log benches be put up there hopefully at the end of this week. Lot in Snyder Park. The scoreboards have been installed and they're all functional for the baseball field and soccer field. So those have been replaced and all functional with LED. So they're a little bit more efficient and nice scoreboards for the sports programs up there. Also, the dog park, we reopened it. I just got a text tonight though that our little temporary fence got blown over with the wind. So probably a muddy area tomorrow, but the dog park is back open up there. To go along with our sports fields, Snyder baseball outfield last week, we had our deep tining, and we've also are scheduled for our top dress and seating for this month, as well as our deep cleaning and aeration of the soccer field, the synthetic of the infield and soccer field, and also our field house has had a deep cleaning and disinfectant. So our sports fields are up and ready to go for our season this year. We're also in the process of getting a contractor for our trail maintenance. We have trails 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6 due to some repairs, crack seal and seal coating. And I know those probably trails don't mean much without just the names of them, but those are the trails through Woodhaven, off Stellar, Cobblestone, and Pinehurst. 4 and 5 come off Pinehurst there. So, and it doesn't seem like we're in springtime, but the vegetation thinks otherwise. So our crews are busy. We're out there mowing. So we're getting into full swing with our mowings. So that's just a brief synopsis of what we're doing in the parks. We're trying to keep everything good and looking good for the city.
Thanks, Harry. I question for when we have a big wind event like we had today, last night, how does that change up your schedule or what your crews do? Do they have to change up where they're going to go clean and try to straighten up and pick up the damage, the fallen limbs and the leaves and everything that happen when we have one of these big wind events?
For sure. That's the first thing we'll be doing tomorrow morning before anything else in the park. So we'll go through our trails, get all the hazard debris that has fallen, and then look for even I brought this up in the past, limbs that are hung up in other limbs.
Yeah.
There's terminology for that. We'll keep that. So we will go through our trails and make sure everything's good and cleaned off. And also the homeowners association through Woodhaven, their contractor as well. But we'll go through after big events and make sure everything is clear and safe.
Great. Yep. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Harry? Okay, great. Thank you for the update. Number 10, the council updates.
Well, hello, everyone. It's great to be here this evening. I don't know how Councilor Russell used to do this, so I just have a few things that I find interesting and think that would be interesting to all of you, and then I'll entertain any questions that you might have. But first off, to let you know that I am so appreciative of everything that you're doing for the city and the concepts you're coming up with and the things that you're bringing to council. So thank you for your hard work. First off, Russell's position has been, we entertained 4 different candidates for the position. We interviewed them last Monday and we did select a replacement, and the replacement will be seated actually tomorrow night at council, and that is Taylor Giles. And so he has been serving on the planning commission for the last year and will now join us on council for the next 9 months. So that position has been filled. Some things that we are working on, you might know that there is a survey online about the pedestrian bridge. There have been 3 different drawings that have been recommended for the community to preview and to weigh in on. So we're really thrilled about the different designs that have been done for the pedestrian bridge, and that once those are selected, then they'll go on to the next steps. We're looking at housing options. Many of you might know that HB 2001 made it mandatory that we look at different types of housing stock so that we can consider middle housing. So we are looking at different standards that city staff have been working on, and we will make a decision on that in the next couple council meetings. That has to be implemented by July 1, if I remember correctly. Tomorrow night, we will be talking about our selecting community enhancement grants. We had 2 different community organizations apply for the grants. I will not be voting on it because the Chamber of Commerce is one of the grants that was submitted, and I am now the CEO of the Sherwood Chamber. So I will be recusing myself from that conversation, but the Chamber and also Robin Hood Festival have submitted grants for the CEP program, and that will be tomorrow night. Let's see, we have lots of proclamations going on tomorrow and a hearing, not a presentation from TVFNR about the annual state of the district, and those are always interesting as well. Other than that, there's a lot of work that you guys have all done and will be coming for council, as well as different work that the planning commission has done coming before council. So again, very appreciative of the work that you're doing, and I thank you, and we'll entertain questions if you have any.
Yeah, any questions for Renee?
Is that voting for feedback on the pedestrian bridge still open? And if so, do you know where that can be located?
It was open the last I looked. I don't think it's come down yet. I think it's, Kristen, do you know? Is it a couple more days?
I'm not sure what date it's up there until. I did hear some numbers of how many respondents they had so far today, and I don't know if it had closed. I would say always feel free to still email if you have any feedback. If you see any of the plans up there, feel free to email Julia or Bob Galati if you want to provide any feedback.
Yeah, it was really an interesting presentation. At first, they came to us with 6 different alternatives, and we narrowed it down to 3 for the community to weigh in on. And we really believe that they're going to be, there's one in particular, if chosen, will really be a gateway to the community. It's something that's never been done before. It will be the first. So it'll be interesting to see what the community has to say about it.
Great, thank you for the update. Then any other questions for Renee? All right, great. And just in case, Russell, if you're watching, we do appreciate your service to this board over the years. We appreciate everything that you brought to the team here, and you were sad to see you go, but wish you the best going forward. So we're down to the last couple points here. Are there any other points anybody wants to bring up?
Brian, I would just mention that we do have Scott here from the YMCA.
Oh, hi,
If there's
Scott.
anything that he wants to share, any sort of a Y update, we didn't have that on the agenda, but under other would be an appropriate
So
time.
great. Yeah, thanks, Kristen. Scott, do you have anything to you wanted to share?
Sure, I can share a few things we've got going on. Obviously, the most exciting thing is we lost the mask mandate in the month of March, so we're able to see people's faces in the building. Obviously, it's an optional policy for members or guests if they want to wear a mask, but we've seen an uptick in usage, and that's been great just to see people's smiling faces again instead of being stuck behind masks for so long. With that said, what it's doing for us is giving us an opportunity to reevaluate all the spaces we have in our building and see what the best use of those are. We obviously created spaces during COVID with social distancing and for different services that we provided the community, like food service, essential needs hub for Washington County. As we start to get more people back in the spaces, starting to reevaluate what's best use. I will say the pool is probably the #1 thing that's being used right now. I don't think that's uncommon from any time over the past, 20 some years that the Y has been here, but it's one of the areas that's always a challenge to try to fit people in as best we can. I will say one of the projects we're going to try to work on down towards the end of the school year as we get to our closure to redo the pool is try to redo the family changing room. We've had some issues with that space in the past, and I know those have gone back a few years. We would love to fix it during COVID, but obviously the financial situation was a little bit challenging. But now that we're coming out of it and have some resources for it, that's one of the areas we're trying to improve. And just really, really excited to see more people. We had an awesome spring break, lots of kids in the building, and getting ready for summer and really trying to figure out how and what the bridge building process, how that will impact the space we have out there. And I'm sure we'll be able to commingle really, really well with the developers and all that, but just trying to make sure we're in front of that so everybody's safe and we can continue with the building and programming for the kids. And obviously I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have about why programming.
Scott, thanks for that update. I was wondering how about the skate park? How has that been working out for you, having it right there, right next door?
I will say it was a big challenge during COVID just because of the rules we put in place of just having members being in the facility. I know it's traditionally been used. Kids will come in and grab something from the water fountain or use the bathrooms in there. But with all the restrictions from COVID, it was kind of tough. So aside from that, it's been great. I think it's a wonderful resource for the community. I would love to have like an outdoor, water fountain or covered bathroom in that space, but down the road that'll be something that's taken care of. But it's great to have something different for the kids there. What we traditionally have in Y facilities.
Great, thanks.
Brian, might I add something?
Yeah, please.
Scott, you mentioned the bridge, the pedestrian bridge, and the impact on the Y. Hopefully you've seen some of the drawings.
I have.
Okay, so you've seen that they include the expansion of the facility so that the landing piece is on the outside of that.
Yeah, I just didn't know where they'd have to stage equipment and things like that when it's being built. So I'm sure that space next to the pool on the eastern edge has been used for summer camps or a tent in that space. And I just don't know if that will be available or not. So we'll play it by ear. If not, we'll figure something out. There's more than enough space for the kids in the building too, but they love to be outside.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Scott, for the update.
Of course. Glad to be here.
Okay, are there any other updates anybody wants to bring up? Okay, great. So we'll adjourn. Thanks everybody for joining, and we'll hopefully see everybody maybe in person next month.
Great.
Nice.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Night.
So now I need to do an end for all.